But why does Moses have horns? Most people have never noticed that in almost all the carvings, Moses has horns. Yeah. Moses is pictured with horns because the horns are representing the moon. Moses was the focal figure of an ancient cult of moon worship on the Sinai Peninsula. The horns represent the crescent moon. So when we see the horns are actually the moon in the lower quarter. Here is the moon god. In Sinai, well, I guess I'm going to show that anyway, so I'll wait. You'll see the horns of the moon. In Rome, Native American, Indian chiefs wore horns. The Vikings, Native Americans and the Vikings wore horns because the Native Americans always counted their days from sundown to sundown. So they, you would hear the American Indians talk about many moons have passed. They didn't keep track of the day by the sun because that was Christian, sun worship. So the Native Americans, like the Vikings, were moon worshipers. So they counted their day from sundown to sundown, just as the Jews do today, from sundown to sundown, because that's when the moon comes out. So the horns were the horns of the lunar horns of the moon. And a lot of the old coins and carvings in the ancient world show the hands raised as they were worshiping the moon god. In Egypt, and of course in Islam, Islamic religion is a very interesting combination of moon worship and Saturn worship and Venus worship. Venus is very big in the Islamic religion. Here it is in the Vatican. You'll see the crescent moon. So the moon cult. Oh, and I was just showing that if you go to Google and put in moon god Sin, because the name of the moon god in Arabia was, his name was called Sin. And so if you look up the word Sin or Allah, it will tell you that Allah in Islam is actually the moon god Sin, S-I-N. And Ai in the ancient language was a mountain. So Sin Ai is the god of the moon god, comes up over the mountain. So put it together, it becomes Sinai, Sin Ai. Even in the Catholic Church, they have the crescent moon. Now, the moon god, as I said, was named Sin. And it shows here that this is just from an encyclopedia. Sin, the moon god, was chiefly venerated in pre-Christian civilization in southern Arabia. If God, then the god he met there would have been the moon god Sin, who had been enthroned on that mountain since the rise of Sumeria. Sin gave his name to the whole Sinai Peninsula. So the moon god's name was Sin. And moon worship has been big all over the Middle East. And you'll see moon god virtually everywhere in the Middle East. And then we get to this article points out that the original Yahweh was only another form of this primitive lunar deity of Arabia. So Yahweh of the Hebrew religion was actually Sin Ai. And this is why, even in Israel today, they do not spell synagogue S-Y-N. In Israel, they spell it S-I-N, because synagogue was the house of worship of the god Sin. Synagogue. And here in Israel, you'll see another synagogue and blow it up, and it's S-I-N. So synagogue comes from the early worship of the moon god Sin. Just showing how, in Jewish literature everywhere, it talks about the moon, many moons,
If you like information like this and you want more for free, go to the website below, get all my books, and just spend time at the website. Enjoy it. Love you all. This video is my opinion and for entertainment purposes only.